Hello, everyone, and welcome to LeeLa. I'm Lee Philbrook. The intention of the LeeLa community is to transform conversations and practices into actions that make a difference. And LeeLa comes from Sanskrit, and it means divine or creative play. It literally translates to your story, and we love to explore other stories. I'm super excited for our show this evening. We're going to kick it off with a short background on us, your hosts, followed by an opening intention. And we are absolutely thrilled to have our special guest tonight, Kellie Koppel. Kellie's story is powerful. The way she has chosen to live her life is a testament that demonstrates to me that anything is possible if you continually have trust and faith in yourself. Miracles do happen. We'll then do our closing intention and final announcements. And we also encourage cameras on, as it really helps facilitate a sense of connection and community. And feel free to ask questions along the way. So here we go. I'm going to introduce my co-host, Lisa English.
Welcome to LeeLa, everyone. This is a space where you can learn, explore, and have fun. Through our storytelling, we hope to inspire you to live a more intentional life. I'm a high school teacher and youth mentor, and I'm really looking forward to exploring Kellie's story with you all tonight. She's such an inspiration, and like Lee mentioned, a true meaning of a miracle. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it back over to my co-host, Lee Philbrook.
I'm passionate about supporting women who are overthinkers. I use my skills as a Reiki master, a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, hypnotherapy, to transform and evolve and empower women to live their best lives. I assist them to release their self-criticism, frustration, and struggle, to move into ease, flow, and a sense of inner calm. I'd now like to do our opening intention that really connects us and holds the space for this evening. So I invite you to close your eyes. May divine grace surround us, uphold us, and cherish us all. May it support us and our sacred trust and community. May we be strong together and our journeys be brighter and higher for having walked side by side. May we be guides for others and ourselves with clarity, tenderness, and light, feeling gentle in our minds and clear with our words, being strong in our creations, sending peace in all directions of time. With gratefulness, we take this moment to arrive and join together. You can open your eyes. Welcome to the room. And now over to Lisa to introduce our special guest.
Actress, filmmaker, and entrepreneur Kellie Koppel has been on a journey through spiritual and healing arts in Los Angeles for over 2 decades. She is a Kundalini yoga teacher, Reiki master, and certified clarity breathwork facilitator, and has been a practitioner at one of Beverly Hills' top energy medical centers. She cultivated an exclusive clientele as an intuitive spiritual coach and business development consultant for top professionals and healers around the world. After 2 consecutive near-death experiences, each leaving her unable to walk, she experienced a profound soul shift and activation. Her health journeys have led her to developing what she calls soul restoration work, wherein she supports clients in identifying and releasing limiting beliefs and patterns which have prevented the expression of their soul's deepest truth and resonance. It is now my pleasure to welcome our special guest of the evening, Kellie Koppel.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. What an honor. I think what you ladies do in getting information out to people and really holding a space for the transition that's happening in the world on this planet right now is really important. And I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to come and play with you ladies and your audience today. So yeah.
Thank you. And you have a beautiful story to share, Kellie. So let's kick it off. Tell us about your background in acting.
So I grew up acting. I had a traumatic childhood, as many of us do. And I think acting was a way for me to be able to feel and express my emotions safely, because it wasn't safe to feel or express my emotions in our household. And I think throughout my life, my degrees are in acting and in classical theater, and that got me out to LA and in the film industry. And as a filmmaker, I'm really creative. I love to create. And I had, really gotten to the top of my career in LA, and I was an executive producer of my own show that I hosted, an hour live show every week called It's So LA. Woo. It's all about living the dream in LA, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm.
And yeah, I was a red carpet host at the time and host of that show, and had three short films that I produced and directed and starred in that screened at the Cannes International Film Festival. So I was really making some strides creatively in LA, and I just in 2000 what was it 2014, that summer I had even been invited as part of a delegation in film, television, and digital media by to China to go around and tour, and teach and share about how we do things in LA. And it was completely sponsored and for about a month. So it was, I've been so blessed in so many different activities. And I've always said that my life perfectly unfolded and gave me the tools and the wherewithal to be able to go through the challenges that have come to me in only the way that I could have, because of my because of acting, because of all the different other things that I've Kundalini yoga. I mean, it's like I was absolutely perfectly trained to survive twice. and it's been an amazing journey that I'm really so blessed. So that's my acting career. And
Okay.
after my health journeys, I things shifted. It's the conversation shifts. It's not about the clothes that you wear, the parties that you're invited to, the conversation completely shifts, and the shallowness of that life, um it just didn't cut the mustard with me anymore.
Mm. Is that what led you to study breath work, your Reiki, and your yoga?
I'd always been on a spiritual journey and a journey of self-discovery. As I said, in childhood, I had a very traumatic childhood, and my mother was sort of bipolar before they even had that terminology, but she was a very damaged woman, and had been in a marriage that was very damaging, and had a lot of residual effect on her and on me. And so in order to find my truth outside of those experiences and her influence of her damage, I really, I started on this spiritual quest, and that is, I was my own guide, my own teacher, and the masters came, and Kundalini yoga. I was so fortunate in LA to learn from Yogi Bhajan, who brought it to the West and is no longer alive. Um, all these opportunities I've had have just been perfect. They've unwound perfectly, and I think what my superpower is the ability to be in a situation and have the awareness and have the gratitude as I'm going through it, whether it's a comfortable situation or not a comfortable situation. I think that has not only saved my life, but has enriched my life to a degree that I, I am blissful. I live in peace. And that's, I think, very rare for humans these days to have that level of bliss, of just peace and balance and harmony within themselves. So I feel very blessed. I mean, a lot of people looking into my life might say, "Oh my God, that poor woman, she is so unlucky." But because a lot of, it's true, I've had a lot of challenges, but I honestly believe, and I recognized at the time through each and every one of them, that they were uniquely designed, divinely designed, if you will, for my soul's journey, for my soul's learning. They have empowered me beyond belief. Yeah.
Hey, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, the first incident. So at the top of your film career in LA, you suddenly found yourself in the Neurology ICU, having the most unimaginable conversations, as you've told us. So what happened to you, Kellie?
Well, like I said, when I came back from China, from a month in China, my hip had started. We did I almost didn't even get to walk up the Great Wall, and I was like literally crawling, step by step to get myself up, because I was not going to miss that. But my hip, my left hip, really started having a lot of pain, and there was a weakness in that left leg. And so when I got back, I started. It got progressively worse pretty quickly, and so I started going to. I had X-rays, and then X-rays led to MRIs, and then MRIs led to all kinds of nerve tests and things. This one doctor I had to go to an emergency room for all of this, because the health insurance program, my primary doctor who's supposed to order all this, they couldn't give me an appointment until December, and this was like October. And I was like, no. And I said, how do we get around this? And they said, well, you just go to the emergency room. They have to see you. And I was like, okay, I will. And that's how it started. And that's how I got in the system. And this one doctor, she was amazing. She was the one ordering all my MRIs and stuff for my hips and my legs and my lower back. And she said, I'm going to send you over to USC. They have an amazing neurology department. You have so much nerve damage, and it's progressive. It's going really quickly. We need to stop it, because this is irreversible. And I was like, yeah, we need to stop this. Because at that point, I was starting to trip over my foot, because it wouldn't, I would be walking and it would feel like I'm progressing, but my foot wouldn't be there. But like when my left foot would step forward, it wouldn't be there. So I would like trip over it. And it was during AFM. And so she gave me all my little discs, all my little films, and sent me over to Keck. I went over there early so I could get done by like noon and go to AFM, because I had people in from London and Australia and everything. And I was abducted by aliens, literally. They kept me in the emergency room until I entered at about 6 o'clock in the morning, until it was about 1:30 in the morning. They would not give me water, would not feed me. And, neurology came in and did the tests and, this kind of stuff. And then I guess what they had done is they ordered head and neck MRIs to see if there was like a pinched nerve or something. And it couldn't get me in until the last one at 1:30 in the morning. So finally I went in at 1:30 in the morning, and I guess I don't know what they were doing. They were twiddling their thumbs. I could finally drink water, so I didn't really care. I just wanted to get out of there and go home and go to sleep. And they came in about 3 o'clock in the morning, and they said, well, we found a little something and we need to do some more tests. And I said, okay, fine. I will come back in the morning. I'll see you later this week. We can schedule an appointment. And I'm halfway getting my clothes on and out the door. And they said, no. We're going to go ahead and we've already admitted you into the Neurology ICU. And I was like, Neurology ICU? Ruh-roh. So
That's a big deal.
it's a big deal. It's like, what kind of tests are we going to do up there? I hope it doesn't involve electronics and, shocks and things. But they wheeled me up, and about 5 o'clock in the morning, they got me all hooked up. And this floor is a floor that the patients, nobody is conscious. They're all in comas. There's no bathroom in your room. There's no shower. There's one bathroom at the end of the hall. Everybody's got the catheters and little pee pads and stuff. And I'm sitting there going, what have I gotten myself into?
Mm-hmm.
And the rest I was there for a week. And I didn't have a toothbrush. I didn't have anything. It felt like I'd been abducted by aliens. My cell phone, I didn't have a charger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting because I was very aware at that point in time that my timeline shifted right then, right there. It's like, okay, things will never be the same. But I wasn't scared. I never had any type of fear at all. No fear thought at all, which was very, it was very interesting to me. I was kind of amazed, and I kept checking myself. Am I just kind of denying my feelings? What's going on with me? But I kept, digging and searching, and I didn't have any fear. I was hyper aware that this was all divinely created for me, that this path was my path. Period. It was made for me. And I didn't know what this path was. I didn't know if I was going to have some horrible brain surgery, if it was going to kill me, if it was going to leave me a vegetable, if I was going to be in a wheelchair and this progression would leave me paralyzed. I had no idea what the path was. I just knew it was mine. And not only did I surrender to it, but I picked it up. I donned it like Dora the Explorer. I was like, okay, this is the dark jungle. Where is it going to lead us? What tools do we need? What magic are we going to find? And the next week, oh my gosh, the conversations were crazy. They were talking about surgeries, getting the ears, nose, and throat surgical team with the neurology team, because the tumor itself, nobody had ever seen anything like it. It was about 3.2 centimeters, kind of like a golf ball, and it had roots down, splitting my brainstem in half. And it had grown up into my pons and my autonomic system. And it was wrapped around my third, fourth, fifth, sixth cranial nerves. And it had displaced my Meckler's cave, my cranial arteries. And it was everywhere. I mean, just everywhere. They didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know even how to get in my head to get to it, because it's the highest real estate my body has. And so the conversations, they were, if they could get in to even take a biopsy, then the ears, nose, and throat people were going to have to take tissue from my nose and patch up my brainstem so my spinal fluid wouldn't leak out into my brain. And I mean, it was great. It was like a really interesting, very dramatic episode of Grey's Anatomy. And I was just waiting for Dr. McDreamy to show up and give me like the hand holding that I really needed. But I kept thinking, who writes this stuff? It's ridiculous. And the physical that was happening to me, because I was very vital. I did like kickboxing and cardio kickboxing and interval training and stuff. And this was just, it came out of left field, and it was crazy. And I knew that it was a spiritual journey. I knew that this was a come to Jesus kind of moment. And I didn't know what it was all about. I knew it would unfold, but I never had any fear. And it progressed, and they couldn't figure out what to do. And so as they were kind of trying to figure out a Western path, I was going natural path and doing everything I could, vegan diet, raw diets, no sugar, nothing that converts into sugar. I had a hospice up in Northern California sending me Rick Simpson oil. I did ozone therapy. I did like 3 different kinds. They were injecting into my jugular. They were bagging, doing like a dialysis with ozone, and then they were doing straight IVs of ozone. And all of this was going on, and they were trying to do that at the same time. The ozone therapy kind of helped a little bit, because what was happening, it was going downhill fast. And it was kind of like I was having a stroke, or had a stroke. And my left side of my face was kind of drooping. And I stopped being able to speak. I could think, but it wouldn't come out my mouth. And I only had so much energy. I was the only one taking care of myself. And this path came to me so that I could learn how to nurture myself. I didn't have an option. And so I, like Dora the Explorer, I picked up that path and went down that road. And the ozone therapy, I was doing so much of it, I had no idea how toxic my blood was. And I had no idea how damaged my liver and my kidneys already were from a lot of childhood stuff. I had asthma really bad as a child, and the drugs I had to take and things. And what actually happened around December is, with all this ozone therapy, I actually crashed my own organs. They stopped being able to process any kind of toxicity, and they started shutting down. And toxins were coming out of my skin like holes. And my body, all my bones started degenerating. I went from about Christmas time to about the 20th of January, about 3-week period. I went from 125 pounds to 93 pounds.
Kellie, can I share the picture of you? Are you happy where you're lying on your bed so everyone can have a look?
Yeah, or the one on the ground.
That might be the one. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
It's quite the picture. So
people can't even imagine what 93 pounds looks like. It's literally skin and bones. And I took this picture specifically because I looked down at my body and I thought, no one is ever going to believe that I was ever like this. I looked like I was in Auschwitz. And I thought nobody is ever going to believe after I'm through this journey that I ever was like that
Mhm.
or how bad it really was. At that point, I was already transitioning. I didn't have enough life force it would take me a week to save up enough energy to go to the grocery store and to my mailbox. And that's all I could do. And I knew I was dying. I mean, it's very, you feel it. You have no life. I mean, you have no vitality at all. You can feel it just slipping away. And all my bones were it was like the Wicked Witch of the West. I was degenerating, disintegrating. And my dad is British, and he's no woo woo. No, he's only Western medicine, and which is very poignant in the story because he is the one who called me. And a friend of his, a neighbor down the road, his wife had been was passing with pancreatic cancer, and she only had a day or two to live, and she didn't want to die in the hospital, so had been arranging hospice to send her home so she could die there. And her oncologist gave her a number of a guy who could maybe help her with the pain. He did energy work. Come to find out, he's more than just an energy worker. He's one of the best medical intuitives I've ever come into contact with. And at that point in time, when that neighbor contacted my dad, she had been working with him for 6.5 months. And he had heard about my brain tumor. I didn't tell anyone how bad it was because I didn't want their fear. I didn't want them to hold me in that fear. It was really important because it took all I had to hold on with white knuckles to the belief that my body can regenerate. And I didn't need anyone else's energy to pull any of that away. So, it could have been a fatty a tumor or something. They didn't know. And he had asked this guy, and he said, I heard my neighbor's daughter has a brain tumor. Is that something you can help her with? And David told him, he said, right now, the brain tumor is the least of her worries. If there's anything I can do for this woman, we have to start within 24 hours because she's already transitioning and there's not a lot of work with. And he called my dad, told him, my dad called me and gave me this guy's number and told me to call him, which in itself, if you know my dad, is a miracle. And I called him that night. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And within the first 3 minutes of the conversation, I'll never forget it. He described in detail exactly this brain tumor as if he were looking at my films. And nobody's ever seen anything like it. And he said, what's going on is your soul has drawn a line in the sand, and you're not living your soul's essence. You're not living your soul's truth. And so you've created all this to check out and come back and do it again or not. And he said, I think I have a feeling that maybe there's a possibility you can have that union in this lifetime, but he said, I can't guarantee it. I don't know if you're going to survive this or not. But I think there's a possibility. And he said, you've got to tell me if you want to live. Um, I'll go in and do a full scan and see if there's anything I can do to help you. but you've got to tell me, and within the next 24 hours. And honestly, I was like, every word that came out of his mouth, I hadn't sat and thought it, but it resonated. It was exactly what my soul, it was exactly the truth of me. And I was sitting there, and when he said, you got to tell me if you want to live or live or die, I was like, hold on. I'm almost dead. Are you kidding me? I'm at the goalpost, baby. Peace out. No more. This life has been really, really tough. This human experience is a lot, and I'm done. I've done all my stuff. I'm good to go. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. And that's what was going on in my head. That's how I was feeling. I was like, I'm good. I'm peaceful. I've had an amazing life. I'm good.
How
And
old
then
were you at this time, Kellie? Just so.
I was 48, 49, which is actually, as I think about it, it's interesting because my mother passed away with breast cancer right before her 48th birthday.
Mm.
So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidence? I don't know. But right at that time when I was, kind of this was going through my mind, and I was about to say, thank you, I'm good. This in my mind's eye, I'm very visual. Do you know these old like signs that have hands pointing to the toilet, kind of like this? This
Mm-hmm.
came in my mind's eye, and it was this neon sign going like this. And it was telling me that this is the next step in my jungle sojourn. This was my next step in my divine path. And I was like, no. And it was like, yes. And so I really, honestly, if I'm being really, really honest, I did not want to live. And I didn't recover for me. I knew that there's not a lot of people who could go through what it would take for that body that you just showed to regenerate and become a living human again, like a vital human being again. There's not a lot of people who go through that path. And I knew that I was specifically trained for it. And now was my time. So I told him, you just tell me what to do, and I will be your poster child. I also knew that it was really important because it was so dramatic. It was so obvious, physically obvious what was going on with me, and the destruction that it was absolutely undeniable and could be absolutely undeniable if I came back from that using only supplements, natural herbs, and electromagnetic frequencies and energy work, which, this man's protocols. It could prove his work and really be a boost in proving and giving people an insight into alternative health and kind of raise the bar and take away the stigma of the fear that these doctors throw into you when they've got you on your knees. It's like, you will die on this day. You will die unless you take this, 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 and this. And I had those conversations, and I literally, I had to hold on to my truth with white knuckles against them, because they wanted to experiment on me. They wanted to chop me up. They didn't have a plan, and they wanted to go in and operate and just tinker around. And I'm like, wait, I'm lucid right now. Can kind of walk. Yeah, it's getting worse, but I'm good. I'm not going to let you screw up with whatever I've got left. And this man, I worked with him for 2.5, 3 years. And I did, of course, physical therapy and stuff. I also at the same time went to like 11 different neurosurgeons. I went to a radio oncologist to see if we could do radiation. I went to proton therapy in Loma Linda, photon therapy at UCLA, and nobody would touch me with a 10-foot pole. Every single one sent me home to die because there was nothing that could do. The morbidity, quote unquote, the morbidity and mortality rate was too high for them to even consider doing anything. And finally, I found this amazing neurosurgeon in UCLA when I was there for proton therapy. That neurosurgeon who specializes in that, she said, I can't touch you. But if there's one neurosurgeon, if there's anything that can be done, it's a technique that this neurosurgeon has created, and he's done it a couple of times. He happens to be here today. Would you like to talk to him? I said, sure. And the technique is they take off your face because the tumor is like right behind your it's like in the center of everything. And there's a 10 millimeter hole. So they would have to pull out, not knowing if it's a soft or hard tumor, they would have to try and pull out pieces of this tumor, 3-centimeter tumor, through a 10 millimeter hole, and trying not to pull in all your cranial nerves and upset the apple cart. And he had done it, not in a tumor that was so invasive, but he came in and he looked at it and he said, anything I might be able to do would only make it would either kill you or make you considerably worse. And I said, I know that. This is not my first neurosurgeon. And by this time, I had worked with David for a good year. Yeah, it was a good year. And I was still on a walker, but I was vital. I think I was up to, my body was starting to take on weight. And I think I was up to about 100 pounds. And it was amazing. And he said, so what can I do for you? I said, if and when this thing goes south, it's going to go south fast. And it's dealing in my cognitive abilities. So what I need is just somebody to order MRIs, keep an eye on it, and just to know me, know my wishes, know my history, know how I've dealt with this, know my perspective on life, so that if and when it does go south, I have somebody in the medical industry that can pull the buttons, can order the whatevers, and in alignment with who I am and my wishes. And he said, done, I can do that. And we've been fast and furious friends for like the last 5 years.
Wow.
And I have MRIs, and it's still there. I have MRIs every year in LA. And as you can tell, my cognitive ability is, I am so blessed. Occasionally I'll get really horrible migraines, like week-long migraines where you have to close the curtains and stuff. And if I really, really overdo it and my immune system is down, I have a hard time speaking, or I have a hard time processing a lot of information. It's like everything has to be like compartmentalized. It can't all come at me at the same time because it literally kind of freezes me. And other than that, though, I'm blessed. It's amazing. I mean, in 2019, I built my body back up to the point where I could travel. And that's when I started doing breath work. And I really wanted to go and get certified. It was in the jungle of Costa Rica, and my hut that I would have to stay, which was a wall and 2 half walls and a mosquito net. It was in the middle of the jungle, about a mile walk from where the classes were and the little village was and stuff. And I was I was like, this is really going to test out my body to see if I can like do this. And I did it, and I went there and I got stronger, and it was amazing. I lived there for 2 months, went to Guatemala for 2 months, and then they asked me to go to Bali for a couple of months to facilitate the next 5 levels of training for new students, which I did. And I was starting this whole new, wellness and breath kind of career. And I was back in LA for the rainy season because I was going to go back to Guatemala. And I was in LA, and I had a week left to go to Guatemala, and I was driving down the road on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, and bang, this guy drives across 5 lanes of traffic. He's high as a kite, and there's no light or anything. He just finds a little hole in the traffic, and he thinks he's going to gun it and kind of slip into this outside lane. Well, he didn't realize that I was in that outside lane on the other side of a van. So when he got there, he literally drove into me. Yeah, that's it. He drove into my car, into me, about 16 inches. It took almost an hour, 2 firemen cutting me out with 2 jaws of life. And that was another little timeline shift.
100%. Just when you thought you were on the right track.
Exactly. What was different in this is, the entire car, it just folded around me. It was amazing. And how they kept me alive. I don't remember a thing. It was absolutely out of my body. Go back to the last picture. I want to show you something very interesting. The one with the firemen and the 2 in the crash. Oh, you can't see it in this one. Above this, can you see the 2 posts kind of on top of behind my car? Those 2 black posts?
Right here?
Yeah, right there. That is a sign. And on that sign, it has a huge cross that's like a red lightning bolt. And that cross is going right down the top of my car. It was crazy. It was a mission right there.
Wow.
And God had my back one more time. And they took me out. Both of my lungs collapsed. My left one had no air in it at all. It was all punctured by my ribs. And my right one had a quarter collapsed. But they kept me alive. They got me to the hospital. I had over 22 broken and fractured bones. Both of my feet were completely crushed. My clavicle was broken. My pelvis was broken in 2 places. All of my ribs on my left side, 2 on my right, all but 2 on my right side. My lungs were punctured. My heart was displaced. The car actually, I think, came in at my knees. My left leg was broken at my knee, and my right one, the ACL, was just ripped at my knee. It was just like ripped apart. And my hands, this one went into the dashboard, so all these knuckles were broken. My fingers were just kind of like laying there, like out. And so we start the next healing journey. But this one was different. The difference between this one and the one before was the one before, it was my journey with myself. I had to learn how to nurture myself. Yeah, everything was broken. And I had 7 pillows holding me together at all times, all my ribs and stuff. The difference was the first one, it was just me taking care of me. And I had to really learn. I had to learn how to utilize my life energy, because there was not enough. There was nothing. So I couldn't waste it on things like judging. I couldn't judge what my body looked like, what my body was doing. I couldn't judge how people showed up for me or didn't show up for me. I mean, you saw what I looked like. I honestly, I didn't want people around because the pain that they felt when they saw my body, the horror and the pain was more painful, I think, than the actual degeneration of my bones. Because you you feel like you're hurting everybody and you can't do a damn thing about it. And so I had to, it was a come to Jesus. It was a journey with me and myself. This journey, this journey for a person who has a real hard time accepting help, this was all about learning how to receive help, because there was not one thing for months that I could do by myself, for myself. I couldn't brush my hair. I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't bathe myself. I couldn't even, my first big yay moment, my first big win was being able to just barely roll over enough that they could kind of lift my pelvis up and try and squeeze a bedpan underneath me. That was my first big win. I was in the hospital for 6 months, and I was non-weight bearing for 6 months because my feet were all crushed. I had metal rods in the balls of my feet, and I could, and they had plates on the tops, trying to hold them together so that they could have something to grab onto to try and mend. So I literally didn't move any part of my body for the first easily 3 months. And the humility that you have and the gratitude that you have for these amazing humans, these angels of nurses and RAs, CAs, that somehow know how to bathe you with a washcloth. They can wash your hair with a washcloth. They just hold you. And yeah, I was in a lot of pain. I mean, like tremendous amounts of pain. And I have so many friends that ask me, how did you do it? And my friends came to visit me in the hospital and stuff, and they were just amazed. And what I did is, I think because of my acting background, I have a very sensorially rich database. So in order to get out of my body and not focus, redirect my mind from the actual pain, I would relive every fabulous sunrise and sunset with every sense, just thoroughly, and just vibe that ecstatic energy. Run that through every cell of my being and let my body heal from the inside out with this love, this life, this expression of creation. And that is what got me through that, is surrendering again. You know, there's not much you can do while you're in bed for 6 months except go inside. That's the only thing you can do. Mm-hmm. And it you know, people were like, wow, why do you think this happened to you right now? You just got on your feet. And it's like, I don't know, and it doesn't matter. I never asked that question because I don't care. This is my path. It's mine. Again, it's my path. Don't you be judging on my path. It's mine. And I will live this path to the best of my ability. I will enjoy every damn minute of it to the best of my ability. And I think that that is coming out of both of these. I know that that is the message that I have to not just share with everybody, but to really, I've become very agile with these tools. I've had a lot of time.
No kidding.
And I know. And so it's giving people the actual tools and the experience of being able to empower them with the awareness that the choice of their experience is theirs. This guy came across 5 lanes of traffic. That's life. It happens. I'm wasting my God-given life energy trying to figure out why, or blaming him, or blaming the system because he didn't have insurance, or blaming this, or blaming that, or investing into this story to propagate anger, fear, and resentment, which are feelings I don't care about feeling. I have no interest at all in feeling like a victim at all. I don't care about that. That's not my experience. I don't want to experience those emotions. I want to experience peace and bliss and fun. And I'm kind of quirky, if you haven't gotten that by now. And this quirkiness that I have, this irony, I look at situations like the first time when I started being able to be put into a wheelchair, I was like mobile. I was like, wow. And then they were able to put me in, they had these PVC wheelchairs that are like plastic. And it's, oh my God, it's like the walk of shame. They have one shower at the end of the hall in this rehab hospital, and all these poor old seniors and stuff. And everybody knows they put a poncho that has, it's just a blanket. Everything else is open, and it's a potty wheelchair. So it has a hole so it can roll over the potty. So you've got wind coming up all everywhere, and they're rolling you down the hall in this little poncho, and you're buck naked in there. And everybody knows you're going down to the closet of shame, where they literally wash you down like a dog in all your bits, and they wash up, and they're like, and it's just like, hello. I don't think water's supposed to be there. Stop that. And so everybody, it's like this shameful thing. But for me, every time we did this, I felt like I just had this image of Queen Elizabeth in the Silver Jubilee. Hello. And so I would just go down the hall like the Queen. Hello.
Look at me.
Just laughing my ass off. And that is how I chose to experience all of this. And was there pain? Absolutely. Undescribable pain. I've had a total of 12 operations to date. And I'm so blessed that these surgeons cared enough to want to put me back together again so that I could function. With the way my feet were, nobody thought I would ever walk again. They were completely crushed, both of them. They were like bricks, like little black and blue, like bricks, like club feet. And I didn't ever think, will I ever be able to walk? Will I ever be able to dance? All I could think of was the sunrise, in the ocean, and the still water that envelops me like a blanket and just soothes my soul. That's all I could think about, because that's all I wanted. You know, if I never got to experience it again in my life, it doesn't matter, because I had the experiences in my heart, in my mind's eye, in my emotions, my sensorial makeup, and I can bring them back and I can relive them anytime I want. So your very first question about acting and my acting career, I think I want to write a book. Acting saved my life in more ways than one. But I think because I have a very acute ability to really live and awaken and live in my sensorial memories, I'm able to create my experience. And I do a lot of guided meditation to bring people's awareness to specific experiences that they enjoy, that they love, to make things playful, to lighten up the frequency. When you can let go of the dense emotions and you can fill yourself with very light, high vibration frequency, it changes your entire life. You magnetize to you like frequencies. And the thoughts don't come to you. The fear doesn't come to you. When you start getting rid of all this old trauma and these patterns and these beliefs that keep you from the truth of yourself, then you start living from this wholeness, from this vibration of all that is, of creation, of love. And when you're just in that frequency, in that awareness, everything is possible. Period. Everything is possible. It takes some discipline and some, you really have to want it, because you have to everything's going to take you off that path. All these doctors are going to convince you that you're going to die, or theirs is the only way, or whatever. And I have a great respect for Western medicine, but I also know, and I have a great respect for ancient medicines like Ayurvedic, Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine, natural American Indian medicine, shamanism. If you don't find the answers in one group of people that have only studied one aspect of something, it's up to you to go around and keep looking,
Mm-hmm. Kellie, all I have to say is, wow, that was incredible. And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your amazing story with us all tonight. Every single pain I've had just seems so minuscule towards what you've had. So thank you. I'm going to pass it to Lee. She's got another question to ask you, and probably some comments as well.
Kellie, you blow me away. You amaze me. You have so much to teach us, and I think we get caught up in the small stuff and how difficult and how painful, and yet you reframed something that most of us can't even begin to imagine, right? Like, that's what's so amazing, is you were like the explorer in your life to shift all of this to, I think most of us want to take that pill or have someone tell us how to fix, whether it's physical or emotional or spiritual, to fix it. And you made those choices. You chose your journey. And I mean, you call your work soul restoration work. So maybe you can tie it in a bow as to coming to that. And I'd love, we've got about 15 minutes. If you can even give us a little bit of a taste of the work you do, I think would be
Sure.
wonderful, because I think so many people are like, okay, but how really does she do that?
Sure. Absolutely. I'd absolutely love to. So what I do now, what's kind of come to into being, what's kind of unfolded for me in life, and well, a couple of things. I have a great insight and familiarity with death, and I have absolutely no fear of it. So my ability to, as you say, reframe things, all kinds of human experiences, into separating them from the story, a story, an experience, and the truth of me, is really, really clear, really, really clear in me. And that's one of the things I I help clarify in other people as well. We all have had a tremendous amount of trauma, and there's varying degrees. Some people have it in financial, some people have it in relationships, some people have, very physical trauma. Some people have had sexual traumas. We've all had huge amounts of trauma. And what the trauma actually is not as important as how it's registered into our nervous system. So, I might have been sexually abused, and you might have had, you know, been in a family with, 4 children, and you never felt seen or heard, or you felt wrong, or not smart enough, whatever. It's no less of a trauma as to how that registers into your nervous system and how it affects your decisions and your actions in your everyday life, and how it affects you and what you're able to do and accomplish, and who you're able to be, and how you're able to experience happiness and wellness and wholeness, as it is to mine. You can't compare, because it's just how it registers in the nervous system. The nervous system sees trauma, any kind of trauma, as life and death, period. And it registers, it locks it in. I'm going to die. Nobody is listening to me. Nobody's bringing me a bottle. I will die. I will die of starvation if nobody brings me a bottle, because as a baby, you don't understand that mom's just in the next room, and it takes some time to make it. It's just the nervous system. It's animal. So that's the big thing. And what I do is I unwind this nervous system. We go in and we take a journey in, and we unwind it, and we let go and reframe. I mean, we understand these traumas, we release them with breath. And I really encourage people to stay in their body, because we're energetic beings having a human experience. That human experience, we process energy through our emotional bodies. So if we can stay in our body and re-experience the emotion, surrender to the emotion without making it wrong, without needing to escape from it or escape from the body, then we're able to really process it and release it and reframe it from our adult mind and our adult nervous system in a very nurturing manner, where we can heal. And so these little bits of us, our energy, our truth, that we're tied up in these little traumas, it's like they're set free, and they get to come back to us. And we start being able to show up in this world as a wholeness, as the light and love and this innocence and this curiosity, without judgment, without feeling that we're not enough, that we're wrong for something. And we start living from a oneness, from an awareness of the truth of who we are, without the need to be somebody else or something else for somebody else. And so that's why I call it soul restoration, because You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. It's your soul. It's there. This is your truth. It's there. You just need to be able to be aware and have a different relationship. An awareness that comes from you, not through everybody's perspective and opinion and judgment of you. And so it's about you pulling all your bits together and being able to go out as a human, in a human experience, out into this world and live wholly, happily, healthily, and choose your experience. You know, really be conscious and say, you know, I am big on words and judgment, anything that triggers, judging words that trigger. I don't use right or wrong, good or bad, hard. This is hard for me. All of these words, I get them out of my vocabulary as fast as possible. I break it down very simply to, does it feed me or does it deplete me? Whether it's a relationship, whether it's words, whether it's an idea, whether it's a job, whether it's whatever, does it feed me or does it deplete me? There's no trigger around there. That's not judgment. I can look at that without baggage, and I can make that decision and that analysis really easily. Does this resonate? Does it feed me or does it deplete me? So we go to that and we use that as our new barometer. So if everybody wants to play a little bit, I'd like to kind of take you on a journey. Close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes and really come into this present body and just feel how you are in your body. Take a deep, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Relax the shoulders, relax the arms, relax the hips. Feel your hips on the chair. Relax your knees, your legs. As you breathe in light and love, high vibration, feeling expansive, feeling a well-beingness. And when you breathe out any fear, any density, any anger, resentment. Are you tired? Really kind of check in with your body. Is there any pain? Breathe it out, and you breathe it out through the soles of your feet and breathe it out into Mama Earth. Mama Earth is great at taking manure and turning it into fertilizer. So let's give her all our manure. Just breathe it out. Everything that doesn't feed you, everything you don't want, breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. Push it out into the earth. And then let Mama Earth take it. Mama Pachamama, Mama Tierra. And then you breathe in and you feel her love. Feel the support of the earth really coming in through your feet, up your legs, up your root chakra, up the spine, out the crown chakra of the head, and connecting you to source. So you have a column of white light running up and down your spine. Allowing that column of white light to really fortify you, feed you. It's like manna from heaven. It's like the best chocolate you've ever tasted. You can't get enough. Breathe it in, breathe it in. And as you breathe it in, you send it out. You take it to every cell of your being. Imagine your cells being like supercharged with this gorgeous energy. It's like tingly and exciting, and it's fun, and it's innocence, and it's like taking a cold shower. It's like being washed with white light in a waterfall in the top of the mountains. And you breathe it in and you allow this white light to flow through your entire body, flow through your cells, and to charge them up and to wash them. And again, letting that anything that doesn't serve you wash out of your cells. If you happen to have any kind of quote unquote disease, feel this energy, feel this water, feel this love washing through you. washing all the density, all these dark particles out your feet into the earth. Let it go, let it go. It's as easy as opening up your hands and just dropping the pen that's in your hand, letting it go with the weight of gravity. And in this space of well-being, you breathe in your mind's eye. You find yourself at the most beautiful white sandy beach in this turquoise water. It's still, it's like glass. And you're there and it's dawn. It's just before, and you see across this ocean, you see the sun and it just barely comes up. And the light is so magnificent. It's deep pink, and there's clouds as it reflects against the clouds. It's kind of purple and this bright orange, and it's red orange. And as it rises, it literally bathes you in this golden light. And this golden light is absolute unconditional love. You are filled right now and you breathe in love, the love that you've always wanted, the love that you've always looked for outside yourself. Now you're breathing it in, and each breath as you breathe it in, you fill your entire body. It's resonating. It's resonating with the truth of you. You realize that this love, this golden light, this is me. This is my connection to all that is. This is creation. And me is just a very unique expression of creation. Allowing that understanding, that awareness to shift your energy. Allow yourself to feel that wholeness, that power. You literally feel the two huge hands of divine support holding you like a baby. And in this moment, you know that you are held and you're taken care of, and you are divinely guided. Each breath, you feel it so intensely, so acutely, that there is no doubt in your mind that this is the truth of you. And you breathe that in and you hold that in your body. You allow this experience to just unfold you. And as you breathe, you expand. You expand beyond this body, beyond this identity, beyond your room, beyond this planet. You expand, 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 expand. And you have a really good idea, feeling of what it is to be unlimited, of what it is to be all that is. What if this is my truth? Then this is how it feels. Explore that. Allow yourself to expand a little bit more. What does it feel like? Are you even aware of any pain you had in your body? Are you even aware that you have a body? No. You are an energetic being. And this is an experience of that energy, of the highest frequency of that energy. So as we breathe in and we come back into this body, into this present time, we have an acute awareness of the infinite us, of our soul as energy. So as we bring it into the body, we realize that this is the truth. This is the truth of us. You breathe it into your feet, into your knees, into your elbows, and your heart is wide open. And you have absolute compassion for not just yourself, but everyone in the world and everything that's going on in the world. It's all a story, and we are all connected in love. This is our truth. Know that you can tap into this at any time with your breath. Sitting in the awareness of your breath is a living meditation. And the more you do it, the more you live your truth. It's that simple. So as we come back into this present time, we have a deeper understanding of truth and us. We don't have to hold on to the stories. We can gently let go of anything that does not serve us, without judgment, without drama, because it feels so much better to experience ourselves in this expansive love, right? So I invite you guys to have great compassion for yourselves. I find that pain and struggle comes from really having judgment, self-judgment. And when you can let that go and realize that that has nothing to do with yourself and your truth, and you have compassion for who you are and can accept the perfection of you, can accept everything that is you, is perfect. And you're shifting, and you're getting all your bits back. And it's a process. And it's beautiful. And so are you.
And I reflect that back to you. So are you. With such deep, deep gratitude. You're one of the most authentic human beings that I have ever come across. And the amount of love, light, and compassion that you put out into the world, Kellie, and to hear your story, it is mind-boggling. And yet, again, like you said, it's a choice. It's like the story of which wolf are you feeding? And many of us feed that disempowering one. And to go through what you went through and to have self-compassion. And look at you, you are one of the most vital. I've gone out dancing with this woman, and she dances, she celebrates life, she lives her word. And it's amazing. She truly loves life, because some people can say this, but they don't live it. Kellie lives it. And so thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for taking us through that beautiful connection to our highest self, to who we are.
My absolute pleasure. It really has been my deepest honor I do energy work one-on-one I can do it online. I do it in person. I do workshops. I do breath work. I have a lot of different tools. And when I'm working with individual clients, I have a really great toolbox, and I use it all. You know, to say I do one, that's why I call it soul restoration, because I get everything I can get, and I just bring it all together. And whatever your soul calls for, I hold you in the highest vibration of light and love, and we go together and do your soul's work. And it's beautiful. I love it. And I do group, workshops and stuff. I just created, I'm in the process of doing a new website. Um, so I think you've got a link to it. And it's not all fulfilled and stuff, but it will be in the next couple of weeks, because we're down here in Mexico, and we're doing workshops, breath workshops, and it's really powerful, because people right now, they need centering. They need an experience of divine love, and they need to stop, investing their life force into all of the stories outside, because they'll get a bigger investment. They'll get a bigger return on the investment inside. Because you can control this. You can control your experience. You can't control that.
No, no. Thank you. And yeah, George says, lovely. Thank you for sharing. Keep breathing. And Monica says, thank you. Such lovely golden light, wonderful reflections. Thank you to all of you. So I want to be mindful of time, and I just like to do our closing intention. So we'll just be a couple more minutes for those of you that can stay on. So if you please close your eyes. As we close our time together, with gratefulness to all, we pause to offer each other love and kindness. May our understanding of love be expanded by what we have shared as we open ourselves to growth. May we rest in trust and surrender ourselves and our past to divine grace, asking that this time together be protected, corrected, and held high. May we now see through love's eyes and understand beyond words. May we all be safe, happy, and healthy. May we all rest in full joy and know that there is no distance between friends in time or space. Divine strength and peace surround us until we meet again. You want to open your eyes, and I'll just pass it over to Lisa for final announcements.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
And that my dear friend Monica, who's on this call, those are her words.
So beautiful.
Right? Yeah. So thank you, Monica.
Thank you again, Kellie, for an amazing evening. So to recap our conversation with Kellie, she encourages us all to reflect on how you can shift your experience of what life brings you, how to immediately raise your frequency and why it is important, and that we can begin to heal ourselves through self-compassion. If you're an overthinker, tired of struggling, or you have friends or family that can use the support, please feel free to contact Lee at any time. She does a complimentary discovery session, and she's going to put her link in our chat for direct access to her website. And finally, our next LeeLa event will be held on Wednesday, May 18th. We will be exploring what has happened with the project Call to the Mothers Malawi. It is a beautiful initiative emerging in Malawi, Africa, that was sparked from a LeeLa broadcast in April 2021. 1 year later, this unique social innovation is now taking form in magical and surprising ways. A Call to the Mothers Malawi will be profiled from its origins to its pilot of A Taste of Wonderland to the exciting seeds that are now growing. So until next time, everyone, be well, aloha, and good night. Thank you so much.